So I figured I'd do another type of like video collection that I've been doing. I've run out of games, obviously. The only updates to that would be Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but if you've seen my review, you should already know that I have that. And I wanted to kind of try and test out YouTube's new 15-minute time limit, which I kind of wish I would have known about when I was editing the process with my Let's Play Final Fantasy VII video, so it would have saved me some time and some difficulties. But I've got some other type of collections I would like to go over and just kind of show. One of them being my anime collection, which I'll get to. But tonight I thought about doing my novel collection, including, sci-fi, fantasy, even my graphic novels, manga, and other various art books and things of that nature. So without any further ado, join me. I'm sorry about the sound quality and perhaps even my voice. I do have a bit of a head cold, sinus congestion, but I'll try to do the best I can, so let's get started. Now, I don't know if you guys seen this in any of my vlogs. I do have built-in shelves that I put in maybe a year ago or so. So I have all my books on my shelves. So let's start with the smallest shelf. Over here, just various journal-like books for projects I wanted to start, like my... actually, let's see if I can pull this down. See if I can open it. Various things, just try to do a Final Fantasy VII kind of handwritten walkthrough. That didn't go anywhere. The one next to it, the big one, was going to be a script for 7, never got around to it. But enough about that. Although these aren't in alphabetical order, let's start with the top here. We have Tad Williams' Otherland series. It's a 4-book series as far as I know, unless things have changed. We have City of the Golden Shadow, River of Blue Fire, Mountain of Black Glass, and Sea of Silver Light. It kind of revolves around the sort of, I think if I remember correctly, it's like a sci-fi fantasy world where you kind of like a second life kind of thing. It's interesting. It's just not one of my favorite series, but it's a good read. Then we have George R.R. Martin's A Song of Fire and Ice, if I remember correctly. I think that's what the series is called. It's very well done, a very good story. We have A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, and A Feast for Crows. Now, A Dance of Dragons, or Four Dragons, or whatever it is, was supposed to be out many, many years ago, but no idea when that will be released. Then we have The Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks. I'm currently reading that, and it's very good. Moving on, we have a very sort of World War II fantasy sci-fi mixture in Harry Turtledove's World at War series. We have Into the Darkness, Darkness Descending, Through the Darkness, Rulers of Darkness, Jaws of Darkness, and Out of the Darkness. Very good series, very good read. It's basically World War II in a sci-fi fantasy setting. So if you're into the whole history of the WW2, pick it up if you like dragons and tanks and stuff like that. We have Terry Brooks' The Sword of Shannara, parts 1 and 2. I haven't read those. My mom gave them to me. I think they were my sister's. But we also have other Terry Brooks series in the Heritage series. Scions of Shannara, Druid of Shannara, The Elf Queen, and The Talismans. Very good books. I enjoyed them very much so. Next to them we have The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers, but I don't have the third one. I think both of those, I don't know if I bought them or if they're my sister's. I think I bought them. Finally, on this bottom row, we have 2 Tom Clancy books I've never really read. I think I remember buying them at like a book club thing back in like elementary school. Then we have Melanie Ron, 2 of her series. One is Stronghold, which I don't remember exactly which series that goes to, but then there's the Star Scroll, and then Sunrunner's Fire. Sunrunner's Fire is probably one of my favorite books by her. It's a very unique idea of people, sorcerers, whatever you could call them, sunrunners. They can kind of have a telepathic link with their dragons, and it's really cool. Of course, then we have all of the Harry Potter series, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows. All decent books. I think these latter 3 really sucked. It went in a direction I didn't want it to go in. Moving on to the second shelf, which is a little bit larger, got a lot more books. At the top here we have the Deathgate Cycle by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, co-authors of the Dragonlance series, one of my favorite series of all time. This one's really good. It's hard to describe what it's about. It's typical. It's really hard to describe, but it's really good. And with as much of a description as I can give it from that, you should definitely check into it. We have Dragonwing, The Elven Star, Fire Sea, Serpent Mage, Hand of Chaos, Into the Labyrinth, and The Seventh Gate. All very good books. Now moving on to another Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, we have the Sovereign Stone trilogy. Now this is a really, really interesting series. Basically, these kind of gems, 4 gems, hold all the balances of elements of nature. And there's like people who are representative guardians of that, or holders of that power. And then there's this 5th one, the Void. And it's really, really interesting. So we have the Well of Darkness, the Guardians of the Lost, and Journey into the Void. Very good series. We have another Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. It's the Dark Sword trilogy. I only have the first one, Forging the Dark Sword. I don't remember too much about it, but it's a really good book. Now we have John Marco. Now it's a little bit harder to categorize his trilogies because they really don't have a series or a trilogy name. But what we have here is the Jackal of Nar, the Grand Design, and Saints of the Sword. Now I don't know what kind of parallel they're going for with that, but again, it's a really, really good fantasy, sci-fi kind of thing, and I really enjoyed this series. But the other series trilogy that John Marco has that I enjoyed the most, we have The Eyes of God, The Devil's Armor, and The Sword of Angels. I highly recommend this to anyone who is a fan of fantasy novels of any sort. They're awesome. You'll be, read Eyes of God. You'll be captured, and you'll have to finish the series. Now here's 2 books by Takashi Matsuoka. I remember finding this book randomly at like Barnes & Noble many years ago. I picked up Cloud of Sparrows. As you can tell, it's a very Japanese style book. It's basically about the 1860s, after isolation, when Japan opened up its doors to Westerners. Missionaries began to flood in, began to try to spread their religion to Japan, and it goes into this whole parallel, interesting, samurai lords with the ability to have gifted sight of the future, psychic stuff. Autumn Bridge is a little bit different. It kind of follows the same thing, but it's more of a backstory, and they're both fantastic books. And then here's another awesome series. It's a very long series. We have Terry Goodkind, the Sword of Truth series. Very good. If you haven't read Wizard's First Rule, you're missing out, and you're missing out on the entire series, as a matter of fact. First off, we have the prequel kind of backstory on Zed from Wizard's First Rule. We have Dead of Bones, obviously Wizard's First Rule, Stone of Tears, Blood of the Fold, Temple of the Wind, Soul of the Fire, Faith of the Fallen, Pillars of Creation, The Naked Empire, Chainfire, Phantom, and Confessor. All brilliantly done books in the series, I suppose. Chainfire kind of pissed me off, but the direction was completely random from the Naked Empire. But definitely through the Chainfire trilogy, Phantom and Confessor, it definitely made it all good. I heard from a friend that he's working on another. I don't know if it's a continuation or something. I think it's supposed to take place after Confessor. I'm pretty interested in that. I'll have to look more into it. Now we get into the Dragonlance books that I own. We have the earlier one, chronologically, we have The Soul Forge and Brothers in Arms, which occurs right around the time when Raceland becomes a red mage, and his deal with Fistanatalus, I don't remember his name, and how he became to have the golden skin and the RLS eyes and everything before his eyes decay and stuff like that. Then we have the Annotated Chronicles, which I believe is like Dragons of Autumn, Twilight, Spring, something, I don't know. I can't recall it off the top of my head. It's the annotated. It's 3 books in one, and it's got the author's notes and annotations and drawings on the margins of the book, and as such, it's the first book in the Dragonlance series that I got into, and they're fantastic. Raceland's a badass, but even more so in the Dragonlance Legends trilogy, Time of the Twins, War of the Twins, Test of the Twins, which I wish I had the annotated legends of these books, because these are amazing. Moving on, we have the second generation, Dragons of Summer, Flame, and then we get into other books. I think I may have gotten these 3 before this one. I may be remembering wrong. These 3 take place completely, I think, at a different time than these did, when Raceland's already gone and something. We have Dragons of a Fallen Sun, Lost Star, and A Vanished Moon. Very good. We have Dragonlance Tales, Volume 1. I don't have any other ones, but these are pretty good. They tell a big story on a lot of the characters. We have The Legend of Huma, or Huma, however you pronounce it, which is a big running legend in the Annotated Chronicles. And then we have the Minotaur Wars, Night of Blood. This is done by Richard A. Knack, and I haven't read any of the other books because I don't much care for them. They're kind of a deviation from the Dragonlance series that I know. But there are some things like the Majoret Brothers that I would like to get. Other things about the Dragonlance series that I would like to know more about. Alright, we're quickly approaching the 15-minute mark. We have Inuyasha manga, all the way from the first one, all the way to the current 51st volume. As you can see, the ones with S's are when Viz decided to stop doing the 4-month space between each volume and actually just correctly leave the manga as it is instead of flipping the pages and images. So now they're coming out every month, and that's awesome. I have the Art of Inuyasha. I have the Inuyasha profile book. I have Rurouni Kenshin profiles, as well as behind it we have a Bleach art book, all color but the black. Really interesting. We have Bleach Souls Volume 1. We have Robert Jordan, the Wheel of Time series. I've read The Eye of the World, and I was in senior year reading The Great Hunt. Got about 500 pages in, haven't read it since. And I must touch on this, but I don't really care for these. The Twilight first and second movies and all 4 books belong to my girlfriend for reasons I don't want to get into. They have to be kept here. But that's been my series, and I believe I'm out of time. Bye.